Left of the box. Premier Doug Ford says he's not going to require municipalities to adopt 4 units as of right, despite new $5 billion federal fund that would offer provinces new cash for ushering in the policy province-wide. So this is the $5 billion. It wouldn't go directly just to Ontario, but to all the provinces. But since Ontario has, about a third of the population of Canada, a lot of that money would be coming towards us. And we all know how NIMBY he is. If you watch my live streams, you know how much he hates the idea of fourplexes being put up in residential home areas, like single unit homes should not be next to a fourplex. No, you don't want that riffraff there destroying the community, as he says. So here's another way of the province just saying, no, we're not going to take this thing that will absolutely help because it's a liberal program and we don't want the liberals to have any wins at all whatsoever. Absolutely grotesque. Like, we need this.
I don't believe in forcing municipalities. I believe in working with municipalities.
So where Doug Ford is also getting angry here now is when the federal government just decides to bypass his power and go directly to the municipalities to be like, so you want this money? You want this help?
I've walked a mile in their shoes, and Mayor Del Duca, he knows best where to put the housing, not the province, or for sure not the federal government. And I'm going to leave that up to each municipality to decide because they know better than the province and the federal government. What we announced is well over $1.8 billion of infrastructure to enable them and give them the tools and give them the support they need to get the homes built.
Oh, we're going to be talking about his idea of homes in just a moment.
I think everyone is relatively on the same page. No matter if it's a federal government or ourselves or municipalities, all of us want to get homes built, and we're going to get there. And I know I'm very confident, but we need to make sure the municipalities are able to build what is best in their community because many things I've learned, but in 444 municipalities across this province, every municipality is a little different and every municipality has different needs.
So we don't need that $5 billion in federal funds to help those municipalities. His idea of a housing strategy, because he has a target that he wants to get to, that, he's saying, like, we're going to help these municipalities build these homes. So what exactly goes towards what a home is? At Queen's Park, Ford's government is defending the decision to count student housing and nursing homes towards the 1.5 million homes goal, even as it faces accusations of inflating the numbers. So we're talking about long-term care beds being considered a home. And so a lot of these new homes that Doug Ford has created are literally just those things now being counted as homes. Student housing is not a home. A long-term care bed is not a home. And even with that, he's still nowhere near that 1.5 million goal.
The Ford government is facing a lot of accusations here at Queen's Park that it's pumping up its housing numbers. First, the government started counting long-term care beds as individual homes. Now the province has signaled it's going to start counting student housing towards its home construction numbers as well. What counts as a home in Ontario seems to have an ever-expanding definition. As the Ford government pledged to build 1.5 million homes this decade, it began with houses under construction, then started counting long-term care beds as homes, and is now looking at student housing and retirement homes as individual housing units.
Next thing you know, do you have a doghouse in your backyard? Well, then that's a home. How about a tree house? Do you have a tree house? That is now a home. Bird houses. Those are homes now. They're all homes. We're just making them all homes to count towards that number now. They're like, home is in the name of a lot of these things, so they're definitely a home. Like a tree house is definitely a home. If only he would start counting the tents encampments, and then he might actually hit that 1.5 million.
Student housing is very important. Every time we build new housing, or a college or university campus builds new housing, that is more housing that is available in the community.
The backdrop to this is the government's own housing targets, 125,000 new homes in 2024. It's ambitious, considering the province only managed to build an average of 92,000 homes over the last 2 years. Not wanting to back down, the government began telling municipalities that it's now looking at counting other types of homes towards its targets.
They're obviously trying to prop up their numbers because they're not meeting their targets.
A move that critics say is disingenuous.
The point of building affordable homes is a place where people can raise their families. And you can't do that in a dorm room. And you can't do that in a long-term care bed.
But the
Sorry, you might notice that I'm twitching right now. That's because, that again was Bonnie Crumby, the leader of the Ontario Liberals. Spoiler alert, they don't mention Merritt Stiles in this little clip. Not at all. They don't have the member of the official opposition, the leader of the official opposition. They don't have her speaking, but they have the leader of the Ontario Liberals, who aren't even party status. They feature her.
housing minister isn't shying away from defending the approach. You are facing accusations, though, of padding your numbers. Is that what this is all about, adding long-term care beds and student housing? Is it just to pump up the stats?
Ultimately, my goal is to build 1.5 million homes. We need to build homes of all types that people can afford. So it is across the spectrum, every type of home.
It's leading to cheeky questions at Queen's Park about what else the Ford government will start counting.
Well, I guess they could start counting tents. Maybe they could start counting jail sales. I mean, there's numerous, I guess, other options they could start looking at. This is getting ridiculous.
I didn't think of jail cells. That one's a good one. I think that was Mike Schreiner, Green Party member. I believe that's who that was. But yeah, no, if Doug Ford wants to hit that 1.5 million, he definitely needs to start including tents in the tents encampments, because that is the one area that is just exploding in numbers.
It should be noted that the Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation, which tracks housing construction in this country, does not count long-term care beds or student housing as individual homes. They define a home as one that has a front door, a kitchen, and its own bathroom. Reporting live at Queen's Park, I'm Colin DeMello. Back to you.
But what if it only has a back door? Yeah, what if the house only has a back door, or a trap door to get in, or a secret door, hidden passage? Would it still be a home? So Ontario may soon count student residences as homes to reach housing goal. You can't even have a microwave. Oh, CP24 again? Are you actually going to let Merritt Stiles speak? What?
Speaker, they're ruling out options. They're risking billions in funding. It's no wonder that we are no closer to getting those housing targets met. But don't worry, they've got a plan for that. First, they added long-term care beds to the count, and now they're adding dorm rooms, Speaker, dorm rooms. I mean, you can't even have a microwave in a dorm room. My goodness, that is not a home. What's next? Speaker, people don't want padded housing numbers. They want a decent place to live. If the Premier can't get housing built, will he at least get out of the way so somebody else can do it?
Members will please take their seats. Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
I think that really highlights the difference between progressive Conservatives and Liberal and NDP, right? So student housing shouldn't count, according to the Leader of the Opposition. We are seeing, and it should be no surprise to anybody, right? Because we saw what the federal government did. Unilateral cuts to post-secondary education that is putting the lives of hundreds of thousands of people across this country at risk. So when we say we're going to invest in student housing so that students can have a home, they say it shouldn't count, Mr. Speaker. I have talked about the student, the family in my riding. He works at Circle K. He works at the Petro-Canada. He and his family live in a basement apartment miles away from their college. You know what he says to me? He'd like to live closer to the college. He'd like to live on campus. He would like options.
Then have affordable rental units near there. Affordable homes. You know, don't expect him to live in a dorm with his family.
NDP, he's a bother. He's a nuisance. For us, he's somebody who builds the province of Ontario, and we will stand by him every step of the way.
So those newcomer students that Doug Ford hates, the international students that Doug Ford hates. So at least CP24 had Merritt Stiles actually speak. You see, at least I know I'm not the only one getting pissed off by this and noticing this, because Earthrise had said under this tweet from that had featured Bonnie Crumby, where is the official opposition in this segment? Did you capture NDP leader Merritt Stiles, but someone else decided to give a boost to the Liberal instead in the edit? Or did you not even bother? Neither Liberals nor Greens achieved official party status, but they're both featured? Yeah. So, didn't feature Ontario, but I guess that was Mike Schreiner that they had featured because, yeah, ridiculous. And so kudos to CP24 for featuring Merritt Stiles in this and actually mentioning her in another article, which is far more than I've seen any other media outlet do.